gathered together today as the dear family and friends of Phyllis Kohn. As we mourn her loss, must also celebrate the full, rich life she led. Death has taken our beloved Phyllis. Friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there's lamentation. In their tears there's loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For her love that united us in life, and which death cannot sever. For her companionship, which we shared along life's path, and which still continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of her heart and her mind, which brought us joy and happiness, and now become a precious heritage of our spirit. For all these and more, God, we give you our praise. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai natan v'nai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai mevarach. God has given, and God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. An ancient people well acquainted with grief and with the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us, yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave, and there is strength in faith. With Job we say, Adonai natan, God you have given. You gave us a loved one who will not be forgotten. For all was good and enduring in her life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. A woman of valor. A woman of valor who can find, she's more precious than fine pearls. Her husband trusts in her, and so he lacks nothing. She does him good, never harm, all the days of her life. She perceives that her labor is rewarding. Her candle burns on into the night. She reaches out to those in need, extends her hands to the poor. She is clothed in strength and dignity, and she faces the future cheerfully. She speaks with wisdom, the law of kindness on her lips. Her husband rises up and blesses her. Her children sing her praises. Many daughters have done valiantly, but you excel them all. Take time to talk, for you may ask of all things unknown to you. Take time to laugh, for smiles relinquish sorrow and spread happiness. Take time to think, for the realm of knowledge is never ending. Take time to see, for there's beauty in every part of the world around you. Take time to feel, for the emotions of your heart often control the reasoning of your mind. Take time to live, for each day is filled with new opportunities that will be gone tomorrow. Take time to dream, for survival is forever challenging the powers of your imagination. Take time to love, for the sharing of all these things is the true miracle of life. Nanai ro'i lo exar, bina desha yarbitseni, amen menachot yanachaleni. Please join me if you're familiar with the words of the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters, and restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The Baal Shem Tov, the Hasidic Rebbe, once observed that there are 3 ways we mourn. The first is with tears, the second is with silence, and the third is with song. We mourn someone truly beloved, we experience all 3. Tears at first, then silence, our grief settles more deeply, and finally song as we're able to celebrate the memories we hold deep in our hearts. Today is a time for tears as we say our final goodbyes to Phyllis. Can Ted hear me? Can you hear me? Yes. Today is a time for tears. We say our final goodbyes to Phyllis. We each remember Phyllis in our own way. Ted, you'll remember Phyllis as your devoted wife. Phyllis was beloved mother to Eileen and Bob and Larry of blessed memory. Bradley, Liza and Zach, Mitchell, Alex and Ricky, Alana and JD, you will all remember Phyllis as a loving grandma. And Phyllis was an adoring great-grandmother to Owen. Throughout her life, Phyllis was a caring sister and sister-in-law to Mildred and Maury, and a dear cousin to Art. Phyllis was born on May 16, 1933, in Lorraine, to Lois and Frida Kaplansky. Her sister Mildred was 16 years older than her, and so she was more like a second mother to Phyllis. Because of the age difference, Phyllis used to say that she was a change-of-life baby. Phyllis grew up in Lorraine and was the valedictorian of her class at Lorraine High. She was quite ahead of her time. She had won a scholarship to Kent State, but could only attend for 1 year because her parents became ill and she had to care for them. Phyllis was working at Allied Investment Company as a bookkeeper when she set up on a blind date with Ted. She didn't want to go at first, but her friend at work convinced her. Ted admits that he knew almost right away that Phyllis was the one for him, but they dated for about a year before getting married at the Old Synagogue in Lorraine on March 26, 1961. Ted told Phyllis that she had to pay for 1/2 of the cost of their $2.15 marriage license, and so she did. And Ted saved that $1.07, literally half a penny, from the day Phyllis paid him on March 21st, 1961, and just showed it to Eileen and Bob for the first time yesterday. They had a true 50-50 partnership from the very beginning, even though Ted would be the first to admit that Phyllis was the boss. After they were married, they moved to the Golden Gate Apartments, where they met their dear friends Judy and Larry Soppel. And then they moved to 4082 Bexley Boulevard and finally their house on Tunbridge, where they remained for the last 53 years. Eileen was born in 63 and then Larry almost 3 years later. They moved into that Tunbridge home right before Eileen was starting kindergarten, and they were so busy getting settled that one day they forgot to pick her up at Hilltop Camp. But Phyllis made sure that she was always home when the kids got home from school. She was there to make them a good lunch. On the kids' birthday, she invited the whole class for lunch and made her special seashells. The other parents called to get the recipe for her shell pasta and meat sauce because their kids all raved about it. Other favorite lunches were Kraft macaroni and cheese or little hot dogs. Phyllis always had the best snacks. Everyone in the neighborhood knew, and all Larry's friends came over for her junk food cabinet. Every Wednesday and for many family dinners, they went to Balaton, and Phyllis learned to make chicken paprikash, Ted's favorite. Whenever Eileen and Larry would argue, Phyllis got angry and made up her own language, and they would laugh so hard she would get even more angry. Phyllis was president of the Fairmont Elementary School PTA when the kids were little, and very involved at Fairmont Temple. She had DASA lifetime membership and made donations to support the Lorraine Synagogue, which was important to her. Ted owned a printing company, and Phyllis did all the bookkeeping. Phyllis was very fiscally responsible and helped Ted in business. They were a great team, and they really balanced each other. Together they traveled all over the world, Europe, South America, Russia, the Scandinavian countries, and many cruises in the Caribbean, the Panama Canal. They enjoyed their condo in Longboat Key, Florida for 27 years, and their standing reservation at the Lazy Lobster. Phyllis and Ted also went on many cruises with Sharon and Gary Nidus. When Eileen and Bob got married, Bob's parents adopted Phyllis and Ted, and they became very close. They called each other brother and sister. Phyllis and Ted also created a couples club that became like family. The Kohns joined the Benjamins, Blumenthals, Branswags, Mills, and Ross for dinners or trips to Salt Fork State Park, or cruises or skiing together. Phyllis also liked to do crafts like enameling class with friends. Phyllis was an adoring grandmother. Our grandchildren all enjoyed sitting with her by the pool, whether in Beechwood or Florida. Phyllis never went in the pool, except on Thursday float days, when they tried to teach her to swim. Thursdays were safe in case she got her head wet, because she got her hair done every Friday. Phyllis made beautiful cookouts every 4th of July. The grandchildren all remember her special dishes, that chicken paprikash, cholent, chicken and farfel, delicious latkes for Hanukkah, and her love of sweets and chocolate. She always had chocolate chip cookies nearby. In Florida, Phyllis had a sign, "I would give up chocolate, but I'm no quitter." Phyllis taught Larry how to make her shells and beef so that he could make it for Alex and Alana when they came to visit in the summers. Phyllis was an incredible backseat driver, and the only time the kids remember hearing their grandma and grandpa fight was about using the computer. Phyllis took the granddaughter shopping, and Ted would say, we would tell them, if you like it and it fits, get one in every color. But Phyllis would say, put it back. Phyllis and Ted were indeed a special couple. They were inseparable. They did everything together. They could often be seen holding hands. They made friends with everyone they met. Everyone would say they were so cute, such a true love story. When people asked Ted what was the secret to a long, happy marriage, how did you do it? He would respond, you say, yes, dear, and 60 years go by too fast. And so today is a time for tears. We're saddened by the loss of Phyllis, but we learned so much from her, especially how to care for one another. Let your tears serve to strengthen and uphold you as a family. There's a story in our tradition about a rabbi who once passed an old woman planting trees. Woman, he called, why are you planting those trees? You'll never live to see them blossom. But the woman replied, my ancestors planted trees not for themselves but for us, that we might enjoy their shade and their fruit. I too do the same for all those who will come after me. Phyllis planted an orchard for each one of us, an orchard filled with devotion and with love, and these will always be here for us. We must be grateful that we're able to share in Phyllis's life. Tomorrow there'll be fewer tears, more silence. As the Baal Shem Tov noted, it will be a time for pondering, a time for contemplation. Phyllis will become a greater part of our characters and our beings as we integrate the memories and the values she taught us into our own selves. But finally there'll come a time for song. The time will come we can celebrate Phyllis and recall all that we learned from her and how she touched each of our lives. May she rest in peace. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, and the memory of Phyllis Kohn always be a blessing. Let us say Amen. And now I invite Brad to come forward to share a letter his mom Eileen wrote to her mother, and then Bob would like to share some personal words about his mother-in-law.
Thank you, Rabbi. This is written from Mom. Growing up, I think I took you for granted what a loving relationship looked like. It wasn't until our daughter Liza pointed out a number of years ago what an extraordinary love my parents had for each other and how she hoped to emulate them that I really took note. Before that, they were just mom and dad to me. Sure, my brother and I couldn't really go anywhere with them where someone didn't comment on what a cute little couple they were. They were always together, and I mean always. They worked together and they played together. They traveled the world together. And as I write this, with tears streaming down my cheeks, I realize just how truly blessed Larry and I were to have them as our parents. They completed each other. They balanced each other. They were each other's yin and yang. Theirs was a genuine friendship, a true partnership, and a love for the ages for nearly 61 beautiful years. Mom, you taught me so much. How to treat people well, how to be practical but still enjoy life, how to be tough but still soft. You had an inner confidence that I still try to match. And yes, you taught me how to cook, but even more importantly, how to make reservations. I've learned so much from watching both of you, but I think the highest compliment I can give is that both Liza and I have been blessed to have emulated yours and Dad's relationship. History is repeating itself. My older and wiser self no longer takes a truly blessed partnership and friendship for granted. Thank you, Mom, for being an incredible role model. I love you and will continue to try and make you proud. Rest in peace. You earned it.
There was one drawback with having Phyllis Kohn as my mother-in-law. When other married men would talk about their mothers-in-law, and of course never in a kind way, I didn't have anything that I could contribute to the conversation. No issues to discuss, no negative stories, no insulting jokes. Well, I guess in this case, having nothing to say about someone really says a lot about that person. I am very fortunate to have had such a terrific mother-in-law, and I always recognize that. And my mother-in-law was very fortunate to have such great friends and family, and she always appreciated that. Speaking for her family, we thank all of you for your love over the years and your support over these recent trying months. We especially thank the exceptional caregivers that did everything that they could to comfort my mother-in-law and look after my father-in-law. Mom, even though you forgot a lot of things as your Alzheimer's disease progressed, you never forgot to be kind, pleasant, and genuinely caring toward your family, friends, and all people. You were truly a wonderful person. It has been hard to watch you suffer these past few months as you tried to stay here for Dad. Please know that we will look after him and take care of him for you. We pray that you are being reunited with your loved ones who have died before you, and that you are now finding the peace that you truly deserve. And though you are no longer physically present, we will cherish your memory and let it live on. We love you.
Thank you, Bob. That was very nice.
Thank you both for your beautiful words, heartfelt words. And if you're able, you can rise in body or just in spirit for El Malay Rachamim. You can sit down. You can sit, but he can sit. But yours, you can sit.
It's okay. It's okay. I love you.
El Malay Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamsei Menocha, Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Yikedoshim Otehorim, Kazar Harakia Mazhirim, Et Nishmat, Pesha Chaya Bat Eliezer, Shalacha La'olama, Bal HaRachamim Yasirechu B'Seter Kenafav La'olamim, V'yitzur B'yitzur Chachayim Et Nishmata, Adonai Chuna Chalata, V'Tanoch B'Shalom Amishkava V'Nomar. Amen. Compassionate God, eternal spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to our beloved Phyllis Kohn, known in our tradition as Pesha Chaya, Bat, daughter of Eliezer, who has now entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound with bonds of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us all say, Amen. Pause for a moment as they lower the coffin.
Oh, amen. Amen.
Early or late, all must answer the summons to return to the source of being. For we lose our hold on life when our time has come, as a leaf falls from the bough when its day is done. The deeds of the righteous enrich us all, as a fallen leaf enriches the soil beneath. The dust returns to earth, but the spirit lives on with God. Like the stars by day, our beloved dead are not seen by mortal eyes, but they shine on forever. Theirs is eternal peace. Let us be thankful for the compassion that continues in our hearts, in our minds, and with God. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will always remember her. In the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter, we will remember her. In the opening of buds and the rebirth of spring, we will remember her. In the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn, we will remember her.
Oh.
In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember her. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember her. So long as she lives, as long as we live, she too will live with us, for she is now a part of us, as we always will remember her. It's now our tradition to place some earth in the coffin for the last act of devotion we can show to Phyllis. So I ask the family will be first, if you're able to. Ted, do you want to stay here? You might not be able to. Keep him here. Just in case. Okay. And the family a chance, and anyone else wants to come forward, or you could do it after the service. Bob, just all do it over there together, and then you walk back. Back a little bit. So I'm just going to say the Kaddish. So walk back a little bit right here. Just get under the tent maybe. And you can stay standing for the Kaddish, or if you want to sit him down. But just... So we do Kaddish right now, and then we can stay standing. We're going to do Kaddish, and anyone else who'd like to place earth can do it after. And head back to the car. Just wait for Brad and Mitch. Okay. We'll join now in the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal, Yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah. V'yamad Yivrach Yerutei, V'yamlich Machutei. V'chayechon Yomechon, Ufhayed Achol Beit Yisrael. V'agala Uvizman Kari V'yamru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mivarach Leolam Ulamei Almaya. Yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitha'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalel v'yithalal shemei dekudasha barichu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechamata tamirav v'yamru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. May God grant peace to those who mourn and cover all the bereaved among us. And let us all say amen. Lech kish lach Adonai, go your way, for God has called you. Lech v'nai yeh imach. Go your way, and may God be with you. V'halach lefanecha zikecha kavod Adonai yaspecha. May your righteous go before you. May the memory of your life ever be present in the hearts and minds of all those who've known you and loved you. And may the glory of God receive you. Amen. Amen. Concludes our service. You can go back to the car and we're going to let any other family, once they come forward, to place earth continue.